Thanks, Reinhard. Reinhard's told me that we're on German time today, so we start and we stop precisely after 20 minutes. So I'll do my best. Brian, congratulations on a fantastic conference. Well done. I'm going to cover two things today, a little bit about LIC, our company, what we do, and our strategy for the future, and then I'll talk a little at the end about the changing relationship between LIC and Dairy New Zealand, who are the industry good company that operate down in New Zealand. LIC's history is a long one, and it's a history of consolidation. Herd testing first started in New Zealand back in 1909 in the Wairarapa. Over the next 40 years, 28 herd testing associations were created. In 1939, the leaders in the industry realised that the fragmentation that was in existence was not optimal for farmers, so the first major amalgamation occurred, and 6 associations evolved out of the 28 that existed at the time. In 1998, there was the next phase of amalgamation when the 6 associations were merged to form LIC, and at that time we were a 100% owned subsidiary of the New Zealand Dairy Board. In 2002, the Dairy Industry Restructuring Act took place in New Zealand, which created Fonterra, and at that time LIC was split out from the Dairy Board and became a 100% dairy farmer owned cooperative. 10 years down the track, we still hold over 90% market shares in herd recording and herd testing, 75% market shares approximately in genetics. We're a profitable and innovative business that continues to grow. There is no industry funding coming into LIC, so we succeed based on our ability to create solutions that our customers are prepared to pay for, and from the profits that we generate from our customers, we invest heavily. Sort of prior to 2005, we turned over about $100 million, and we're making sort of $4 or $5 million a year. We now turn over about $185 million, and profits range in the $20 to $30 million range a year. We're investing about 20% of our turnover each year back into science, product development and innovation. That's about 20 to 25 million, and on top of that we're spending between 20 and 40 million dollars a year on capital expenditure and major transformational projects. So in order to continue to invest at that level, which we believe we need to, we have to run a commercial, profitable business model. Now in 2012, we've just redefined the relationship with Industry Good, which I'll talk about at the end, and we've just launched our new strategy for 2020, which I'll take you through now for a few moments. When we started to think about strategy, we first had to have a very clear view of who we were. And when you're thinking about strategy, there's no point developing a strategy for a gazelle if you're an elephant. And so we had to start with a very clear view of who we are. And this is who we are. The word pastoral in the top line is very important to us. New Zealand is a pastoral-based dairy system, and for us we focus all of our efforts on how do we optimise our products and how our products work together for pastoral dairy herd improvement. As I said, we're 100% owned by farmers. Innovation, research, and understanding customers are the 3 things that create success in our business model. I've talked a little bit about profitability. Profitability for LIC is the key to future sustainability. Dairy farmers will be farming in New Zealand in 100 years' time, and we're very, very clear that LIC needs to be there in 100 years' time supporting our farmer customers. Very clear purpose, and that's helping farmers become more productive and more profitable through two things essentially, and this leads into our strategy: dairy cow performance and information and technology that help farmers to farm. Very clear, very simple, very focusing for all staff that work within LIC. And our mission, this photograph sums LIC up very nicely: a farmer, a number of cows, and technology. And so our whole mission, vision and life is to provide innovative solutions that improve farmers' prosperity. Innovation is critical in our country. New Zealand's a long way from the world. We're a very small nation. We rely 95% of all milk that is produced in New Zealand is exported, and we have to export it a long way to reach our customers. So, competitiveness through the whole dairy value chain is an absolute sort of prerequisite for not just for success but for survival. And you achieve that through continual innovation. And New Zealand and LIC have been innovating since its formation. In 1941, we started with our AI service. In 1961, we launched the sire proving scheme. We got up to over 300 bulls a year. That's now completely changing with genomics. We're screening between 2,000 and 2,500 candidate sires each year. We've halved the size of our progeny test. In 1985, we understood the power that came from accumulating data and running analysis across huge data sets. That's when the database was first established by LIC in New Zealand. In 1988, we launched our fresh liquid semen product. We're now inseminating over 3.5 million straws of liquid semen. This is a product that has a 3-day life, contains a million sperm. At the peak, we produce about 130,000 straws per day, and we distribute that out through 1,100 AI technicians on a daily basis. So, it's a great system. It keeps our costs down and it enables us to deliver, the highest rates of genetic gain possible. We developed the BW index, the equivalent of the Irish EBI, in the late 90s, and that has focused farmers on the value of genetic gain consistently over the last sort of 15 years. We got involved in disease eradication in the late 90s. Technology started to hit the business in the late 90s with handheld devices and with our animal recording software. In 2000, we realised that the best cows that could milk in New Zealand were actually crossbred cows, and we launched the first crossbred bull. Crossbred sires now make up about sort of 40% of our total semen in a year, and over half the heifers that are coming into the national herd are crossbred heifers. We launched DNA proven semen, which is our genomic product, in 2008, and that's currently up at about sort of 35 to 40% of inseminations. And we moved into automation in 2006. We saw that farmers, who were milking, often sort of 800 to 1,000 cows on a farm, needed help with the in-shed management of cows. So we launched an in-shed automation system. We now have about 10% of dairy sheds in the country running some form of automation. We expanded into DNA diagnostics and disease diagnostics in 2009 with a parentage product. We're bringing about 180 new farms a year into that system, so they're taking samples of tissue, at the birth of the calf, sending that into us. We match it to parents, update the database. The next step will be genomic proofs of those heifers, and we predict that if we look 5 to 10 years out, we think we could see 30 to 50% of all heifers that are born in New Zealand being parentage verified and genotyped at birth. And we're continuing to look to innovate in the mobility space and estrus detection, automation areas. When we look ahead to 2020, we see a very positive future for dairying. The growing demand for dairy, massive changes happening in technology. The technification of dairy farming is a one-way trend, and it's a trend that will move quite quickly, we think, in New Zealand, and particularly into the big farms. And it's capturing a lot of our focus as a business. Sustainability will be a major global trend that we need to adapt all of our products, services and solutions for. In New Zealand, diversity is a key factor that's driving us. Farms are getting bigger. The average herd size down in the South Island is over 800 cows now. A lot of corporate ownership coming in. Maori, our Indigenous people, are becoming very powerful landowners. A lot of foreign ownership coming in. Lots of different ownership models. So, customer diversity is a key challenge for us as we think about 2020. The regulatory environment's toughening up. New Zealand's probably a little bit behind a lot of the world in this area, but we're catching up quickly. And competition. Competition is coming into our market from all sorts of areas. New startup competitors, particularly in the software, automation, diagnostic spaces, and very strong international competitors in our traditional markets. When we look, this is just a picture that shows the growth in the use of AB and milk monitoring in New Zealand since 1995, and you see that every year, bar a few years in the sort of mid-2000s, the number of cows that have been put to AB or herd tested is growing. So you'd say that's a real success story. This is a picture of a market that has kept growing over a long period of time. But when we dig a little deeper into this picture, we see the red line, which is the number of cows in New Zealand, has actually been growing faster than the number of cows that are mated to AB or are herd tested. So participation rates have been falling from sort of the high 80s to 90s % levels back in the mid-90s to today, when we are sitting, we believe at 75% of all cows in New Zealand being herd tested or mated to AI. And so for us, a key question and a key challenge is, where's that trend going to go? Are we going to continue the long-term decline? Are we going to do something that stabilises it at 75% participation, or can we reverse that trend and push back up to the 85% level? So of course our strategy is to focus on what can we do to increase rates of participation, because if we can get participation rates up, that creates huge value for farmers on their farm, and through that we'll create a lot more value for LIC, which we can then reinvest into the business for the future. So that's behind our thinking. How do we increase participation rates in the key technology areas that we supply our market? And that's behind our 2020 strategy. When we look at the farm, we see two performance systems operating, the dairy cow performance system and then the on-farm performance system. And we see that those two performance systems are linked by this whole farm information system. This is the transformation of data to information to knowledge that Andrew Cromie talked about yesterday. And for us, we think now beyond knowledge to decisions. How do we take all that data and actually convert it into tools that directly aid farmers with the key decisions that they need to make in real time on their farms? And that's where sensors, automation, mobile devices are all starting to converge together to create these technical farms that we're going to see in the future. Our space is the dairy cow performance, and we look to improve dairy cow performance through genetic merit, through nutrition, through health, through reproduction, through production, and increasingly in the future through the environment. That's where we will directly play. When we get down then into how does the cow interact with the farm, the interaction between feed, supplements, fertiliser, the farm system and the cow system, we will increasingly collaborate with partner organisations in that area. But our focus is very, very squarely on the cow and on the information system that supports farmers with decision making. We see huge opportunities for LIC, for farmers, and for in fact any company that is in this industry in dairy cow performance. We're seeing a big shift in New Zealand. For a number of years, New Zealand farmers farmed for capital gain. Now they're farming for productivity and on-farm profitability. That's really positive, because when they think, how am I going to improve the performance of my business, they start thinking about how can we improve the performance of the cows we're milking. Over half the gain that is happening on farms is coming directly through the cow. DNA technologies exploding creates huge opportunity for us to increase rates of genetic gain. Farms are getting bigger. Farmers have to manage more people, more cows per person to stay economically viable. That creates big opportunities for automation products for us. Rural broadband is improving. That's creating opportunities for mobile devices, for internet-based software solutions. EID tagging creates a much greater opportunity for farmers to tie new technologies into their farming operations. sensors and automation, measuring cow performances in real time. We think this is an area it's embryonic at the moment, but it will grow as price points come down and as technology improves. And we are starting to spend a lot of our time looking for areas that we can invest in around sensors and automation, and then pressure for animal welfare and environmental will also create opportunities for us. So, we break our strategy into 3 areas: improving dairy cow performance through products, services and solutions in each of those 6 dimensions. Again, genetic merit, nutrition, health, reproduction, production and environmental. The second strategy for us is better decisions through information. We're putting a lot of effort into this area in developing new software products, developing very, very advanced analytics skills through Bevan Harris's team. Bevan spoke to us yesterday about genomics. In Bevan's spare time, he's also leading our strategy in the in data analytics, and we think that that's an area that will play a major part in our future. And overarching all of the product science and services strategies we've got is this need to provide superior customer solutions and service. I can't overstress the importance of this one for all businesses and for us. Understanding the customer and tailoring your whole business model to your customer is the prerequisite for success in the future. We've grown our business very quickly over the last 5 or 6 years by focusing a lot on products, developing the best products that we can, and taking product solutions out to our customer base. What we are doing with our new 2020 strategy is flipping our thinking from thinking products to thinking service and solutions. And there are 3 key dimensions that we will be asking all of our staff to really take on board in the future. One of them is being proactive. We can't run the business looking in the rear view mirror. We have to be looking always through the front view mirror, and we have to be anticipating and predicting customer needs and providing proactive services and solutions for them. We need to be much faster as a business. The days of being able to take a year to develop a new product or a new software application are gone. Competitors don't allow you to go that slowly anymore, and customers just are not satisfied with long lead times. So we have to completely change the way we think and act to be faster and more dynamic. And the third big change that has to happen is this whole notion of collaboration. No business is big enough now to be able to do everything themselves. So very, very important for us to collaborate internally with our customers and with partners. So that's LIC, that's our strategy. Moving on very briefly now to the relationship with Industry Good in New Zealand and some of the changes that are happening there. As I've presented today, LIC, we're a cooperative, but we're a very, very commercial cooperative, and we focus on customers, innovation, research, competitors and profitability. We're not an industry good body, but if we're successful, we will do a lot of good for industry. Dairy NZ, the levy-funded industry good body, their focus is on research, extension, areas where there is market failure, and industry standards. There's a very kind of deep and often complex relationship between LIC and Dairy NZ, but for New Zealand farmers to get the best, an organisation like LIC and an organisation like Dairy NZ have to be very close and have to be working very, very well together. Government comes in on the edges here through policy, through public good via the ministry, through animal health, and increasingly through traceability, which is just about to launch in New Zealand. And their focus is market access, biosecurity, policy, fair trading, etc. You may be aware that in New Zealand, LIC has operated the core national database. That's 46 fields of data that sit within the LIC commercial database, and we run the animal evaluation unit on behalf of industry. There's been a lot of discussion over a long time in New Zealand about, is that the best structure for LIC, the commercial party, to be also custodians of the national database and running the animal evaluation unit. Lots of perceptions of LIC using those positions to create a competitive advantage for itself. A lot of that driven by competitors. In 2009, an industry panel was formed to review the whole situation, and they made a series of recommendations. Two of those recommendations were that dairy industry good create a new national database, and that the animal evaluation unit be transferred from LIC into industry good. We supported both of those conclusions and have worked for the last 2 or 3 years to define how the model will work in the future. So what will happen over the next year or so, we agreed it all last week, and what will happen is Dairy NZ will create a new core industry good database. We will provide core data into that, as will other certified herd testers. Dairy NZ will take over the management of animal evaluation, possibly under subcontract to a third party. LIC and other companies will continue to provide data that is required for the purposes of calculating sire indices through to industry good. Industry good will then focus on the sire side of the evaluations. The cow side, cow indices, which is the commercial marketplace in New Zealand, will stay the domain of those that choose to be in it. So ourselves and CRV being the two main companies down in New Zealand that are providing cow indices. BW, which is the New Zealand index, will transfer the rights to the future of BW for sires through to dairy industry good, and we'll retain BW for cows. At this stage, genomics is going to stay completely outside industry good animal evaluation, and those companies that choose to invest in genomics will continue to publish their own sire proofs. So a lot of change that's been agreed over the last year or so of discussions. We think it's very positive for New Zealand. We think perceptions of independence are really critical for retaining farmer confidence in genetic gain into the future, and so we're very supportive of this move. But look, it's exciting times for dairy. It's exciting times for New Zealand, we believe, and we're very, very positive about the future for our industry, and we're very positive about the future for LIC. So on that note, Reinhard, I hope I'm inside my time, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much.